Most seniors are watching the wrong blood pressure number, and that mistake may already be shortening your life. Right now, millions of older adults are checking their blood pressure at home, seeing two numbers on the screen and quietly guessing what they mean. They are told to relax if the bottom number looks fine. They are told not to worry if the top number is just age. Over time, this creates a dangerous mental habit. Seniors stop trusting their bodies and start trusting partial information. And that confusion does not feel dramatic. It feels calm, which is exactly why it is so risky. Blood pressure does not hurt. It does not warn you. It does not create urgency until the damage is already advanced. That is why anxiety around blood pressure is so common. People sense that something important is happening, but no one clearly explains which signal actually matters most at this stage of life. This video is about removing that confusion, not by simplifying the truth, but by explaining it in a way that finally matches how the aging body really works. One of the biggest mistakes in health education is assuming the body behaves the same at 30 as it does at 70. It does not. Aging changes structure, not just numbers. When you are younger, your arteries are flexible. They stretch with each heartbeat and gently recoil. This elasticity absorbs pressure and protects delicate organs. In that stage of life, both the top number and the bottom number tell an important story. But after decades of use, arteries gradually stiffen. Elastic tissue is replaced by tougher material. Calcium accumulates. The vessel walls lose their ability to cushion pressure. This changes everything about how blood pressure behaves. The heart now has to push blood into stiffer pipes. The pressure wave becomes stronger. The top number rises. Meanwhile, the bottom number often stays the same or even drops. This creates a pattern that did not exist earlier in life. And this is the pattern that misleads so many seniors. For years, many seniors were told that the bottom number was the dangerous one. So they learned to fear diastolic pressure. That belief still lives in the background of many minds today. But in older adults, diastolic pressure often loses its ability to predict major cardiovascular events once systolic pressure is taken into account. This does not mean diastolic is meaningless. It means it no longer tells the full story by itself. Here is where anxiety quietly grows. A senior sees a reading like 150/72. The mind latches onto the 72. It feels familiar. It feels safe. The relief is emotional, not physiological. And that relief can delay action that should not be delayed. In seniors, a normal-looking bottom number does not cancel out a high top number. It can actually hide risk by giving a false sense of security. One of the most misunderstood blood pressure patterns in seniors is isolated systolic hypertension. This is when the top number is high, but the bottom number is not. For years, this pattern was dismissed as a normal part of aging. Seniors were told that stiff arteries were inevitable, so higher systolic pressure was something to accept rather than manage. But modern evidence shows that isolated systolic hypertension is strongly associated with stroke, heart failure, kidney damage, and cognitive decline. This is a crucial psychological shift for seniors. There is a third signal inside your blood pressure reading that most people never notice. It is called pulse pressure. It is the difference between the top number and the bottom number. As arteries stiffen, this gap often widens. A wide pulse pressure is a clue that pressure waves are hitting organs harder with every heartbeat. This matters because organs like the brain and kidneys are especially sensitive to repeated pressure stress. Over years, this stress can quietly damage small blood vessels. The damage does not announce itself. it accumulates. Many seniors with acceptable-looking averages still experience harm because no one ever explained what the widening gap meant. Understanding pulse pressure gives context. It turns numbers into insight. Another layer of confusion comes from timing. Blood pressure is not constant throughout the day. It follows your internal clock. In the morning, several things happen at once. Stress hormones rise. The nervous system activates. Blood is slightly thicker after hours without hydration. Platelets become more reactive. For seniors with stiff arteries, this combination can produce a powerful pressure surge. This explains why heart attacks and strokes occur more often in the morning. And yet many seniors never measure their blood pressure during this window. They measure randomly. They measure when anxious. They measure after movement. Then they are confused by inconsistent results. The goal is not to measure more often. The goal is to measure more intelligently. One of the most stressful experiences for seniors is seeing blood pressure jump around from day to day. One reading looks fine, the next looks alarming. Anxiety builds, trust erodes. What many people do not realize is that variability itself can be harmful. Repeated swings in pressure create mechanical stress on vessel walls. Over time, this stress can destabilize plaques and increase the risk of stroke. In seniors, variability is more common because the body's pressure-regulating systems are less responsive. Medications may wear off unevenly. Sleep disruption and dehydration play a bigger role. Even small lifestyle changes can produce larger swings. This is why consistency matters as much as averages. Stability protects. After decades of research, one conclusion stands out clearly. In older adults, systolic pressure is often the strongest predictor of cardiovascular events. This does not mean diastolic pressure is irrelevant. It means systolic pressure reflects the mechanical stress being transmitted through stiff arteries to vital organs. Large clinical trials have shown that lowering systolic pressure appropriately in older adults can significantly reduce heart attacks, strokes, and even overall mortality. These benefits are not theoretical. They are measurable. But this must be done carefully. Targets must be individualized. Aggressive lowering without supervision can cause dizziness, falls, or reduced blood flow to critical areas. The message is not panic. The message is precision. Here is an emotional truth rarely discussed. Many seniors feel uneasy about their blood pressure because they sense something is wrong, but they are not given a framework that makes sense. They are told numbers without context. They are reassured without explanation. Over time, this creates quiet anxiety. Anxiety is not always fear. Sometimes it is confusion that has nowhere to go. When seniors finally understand which patterns matter and why, anxiety often decreases, not because risk disappears, but because uncertainty does. The goal is not perfection. The goal is awareness. Track systolic trends over time, not single spikes. Notice pulse pressure occasionally. Compare morning and evening readings under calm conditions. Watch for large swings. Bring this information to your healthcare provider. Lifestyle changes like sodium reduction, regular movement, better sleep, and consistent hydration can meaningfully affect systolic pressure and variability. Medication is not failure. It is a tool. The most important shift is mental. Stop reacting emotionally to individual readings. Start observing patterns. So which blood pressure number is more dangerous for seniors? For most older adults, the top number deserves your attention because stiff arteries change how pressure damages the body. But the real danger is not a single number. It is misunderstanding the pattern. When you understand systolic pressure, pulse pressure, morning surges, and variability, blood pressure stops being mysterious. It becomes information. And information is empowering. In the next video, we are going to talk about why your blood pressure may look fine during the day, but spike at night, and how your evening routine can quietly make things better or worse while you sleep. This is why so many seniors feel confused when something serious happens, even though their blood pressure never seemed that high. The damage rarely comes from one extreme reading. It comes from years of small misunderstandings, a systolic number that slowly climbed, a widening gap that was never explained, morning surges that were never measured, variability that felt random but quietly stressed the vessels every day. When people say it came out of nowhere, what they really mean is that no one showed them how to read the warning signs correctly. Once you understand this, fear begins to lose its grip. Not because the risk disappears, but because the mystery does. Your body was not failing silently. It was speaking in patterns that simply went untranslated. The real shift for seniors is not chasing perfect numbers. It is learning to create stable conditions, consistent routines, predictable medication timing, calm measurement habits, enough sleep, enough movement, enough recovery. When pressure becomes more stable, risk often follows. Blood pressure stops feeling like a judgment and starts feeling like feedback. And feedback gives you control. That is what protects your heart, your brain, and your independence over time. Not panic, not guessing, but understanding what truly matters at this stage of life. Stop chasing reassurance from the bottom number. Control the top number, and you control the direction of your future.